Okay, so I'm live. I'm here on my lonesome, just doing a quick web episode where I talk about the website and what's new. Because I have been neglecting it for many months now, and so I took the time. I'm on holidays, so I've been taking some time here and there to work on uh, uploading the newest episodes from this past year and improving, the administration side. But I built a little app for facilitating the process of adding episodes to my database. So I don't need to go into the actual PHP myadmin or whatever it's called on the cPanel. So I just made a little secret admin page, and that'll let me add things much more quickly, and I can sort of semi-automate it. So I did that, and I added a little stats thing, which I'm going to show you now. It's like a stats page, and I've got a few different statistics that I'm highlighting here, just playing with the new Canvas.js, which is a quick and dirty way to make charts or graphs really quickly and easily. So it's my first time using it, but the results seem okay. The first chart that I put up is just all of the episodes, except for one episode from 2012, which was an audio interview that a Franciscan monk who was traveling to Canada from Madagascar, he interviewed me, Father Martin. The Father Martin interview is not included here because I wanted to limit myself to when I launched my podcast in 2016, and that interview took place in 2012. But I do have the actual interview that he created and that he put on YouTube in 2012. So that's included, but it's not included in the statistics, just a minor point. In any case, you can see how I started late in 2016, so I didn't have that many episodes. I got 13 under my belt, and of course it was audio only right up until 2019. In 2019, you can see there's a sharp leap when I started doing live streaming. That really helped me to pretty much double. From 52 in 2018, I went up to 88 episodes published in 2019. So that was quite a big jump because of the cumbersome nature of, I had consent forms for people, and I was doing heavily editing all my audio only videos, and I was just a little bit, bogged down by all of that and more. So I just said, screw it, I'll do the live stream video, and I'm really glad I did, because I was able to double my production. And it's very part-time. I work full-time, so if I wanted to go full-time, obviously I could have a lot more content and a lot more and a lot more quality content, but it's a side hustle for me, just a fun little hobby on the side. So what happened in 2020? I wonder what happened in 2020 that caused a sudden dip. Well, we know what happened in 2020. And in March, my wife and I got very sick, and then we started hearing about this COVID and blah 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 blah. So I decided just to take a break from the podcast, and that's why my numbers dropped. I only did 31 episodes in all of 2020, and then I slowly started coming back, and now it's 2023. I still have 4 or 5 months left in the year, and I'm already at my biggest number here, 104 episodes already under my belt in 2023. Not that it's about quantity, it's not about quantity, but I like producing the content. I like meeting the people. I like everything about it. I like enrolling people in perpetual masses, obviously. So there's a lot to be excited about with the quantity aspect of it. Then I have the same number of episodes, the 512 total, but distributed, instead of yearly, it's distributed monthly. So I can see, what's my pattern like? Well, my pattern is, apparently in February I do it's the shortest month, but I do the most interviews or the most content I'd like to know how many of these are interviews and how many of these are just like this episode that I'm doing now where there is no guest, I'm just talking. I wonder what the breakdown is there. That could be another statistic that I dig into. But anyway, it's interesting that February, the darkest, bleakest, most depressing month in the calendar, it's my most productive month so far. Apparently, it's either coincidence or there's some connection. May is a productive month, and then April, December, which is a strange one, I guess, because I have holidays in December. And it goes down from there. And my least productive month on average is August. And we're just coming up to August tomorrow. Tomorrow is August 1st. So it's pretty interesting to look at this. If you're wondering why I chose the colors here, I wanted sort of a seasonal thing where January, February, and March were cold and snowy and icy and blue. And then we have the green of the spring coming in, fading to a yellow, which represents the sun. And then the orange, which goes into September, which represents the leaves changing color, the orange to the brown to the really dark, muddy, slushy, gross November. And then into the purple of December, where it's a mixture of the mud and the snow and everything that's we're really settling into winter. So that's the color scheme I came up with. It had nothing to do with the LGBTQIA two-spirit movement. Okay. Now what I've done here is I've gone year by year, 2023, 2022, 2021, 2020, all the way down to the beginning, backwards in time. And it's pretty interesting to get a sketch of how my year's been going. This year, once again, February, very productive month, very busy time for me. 22 episodes in February. They're only 28 days or 29 days, whatever it is, in February, but I had 22 episodes. That's pretty crazy. That's really crazy considering how little free time I have when I work full time. So yeah, very interesting. And then, it dips down in March, and then it sort of has been gradually climbing up a little bit. April seems to be, as I mentioned here, well, April and May seem to be big months for me. And it's funny, March is a very slow month. Maybe it's because of my birthday. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know why. Well, I took a big hit in March of 2020. We're going to see that stat. But this is a really interesting year, 2022. I mean, I'm probably the only person on the planet who finds this interesting. I showed this to my wife and she said no one cares. But anyway, I'm just doing this for myself. It's like a vlog, my own little personal journal online, so I can go back and look at it. But a few people, some geeky nerds might find some of what I say today interesting, but feel free to tune out if you don't like this stuff. So this curve is pretty interesting. Almost looks like that Gaussian curve, the normal curve, the bell curve sort of thing. Not quite, but pretty organic shape of this curve here, and then swooping back up again. September in 2022, September, I didn't do anything. What was I doing in September of 2022? That's very curious. I have to go back and look at my emails and say, what was happening around September of 2022? What was it? Or is it just pure coincidence? I don't know. But a very interesting shape here. And May was a productive month, as usual, and December was a productive month, as usual. But again, a very organic curve. This one's less organic. We can see March, uncharacteristically, was a busy year for me in 2021. And usually it's the other way around. Usually February is busy, March is much less busy. But in any case, it dropped down in April and then just slowly climbed, and then a spike in September. I don't know what this is all about. Nothing in September of 2022, but then the year prior in 2021, it was like, wow, September, I really went crazy. I had 19 episodes that month. Very interesting. And then here we have the pandemic when it struck in, like I said, the wife and I got sick in March of 2020. So I only did 31 episodes that whole year. 8 in January, 23 in February. So once again, that pattern with February being strong, yes, that holds. But I took basically the whole year off. Okay, well, that was about 10 months off. Because I came back, it was 11 months because I took January off too. I came back in February. So We can see 2020 to 2021. It's all the way from March to January, I had nothing. Moving backwards in time to 2019, I had a fairly strong January and February, and then a weak July. I think I may have traveled to the States this particular summer to see my sister Linda. Shout out to you, Linda, if you're watching this. I highly doubt you are. I've interviewed her if you want to go watch Linda Ross' her episode on my podcast. Going back a year to 2018, 52 episodes in that year. And it seems to be on average just sort of growing throughout the year. Okay, just slowly growing. I started in January with 2 episodes. In May, I only had 1, but by the end of the year, in December, I had 11 that I published in that particular month. 2017, this is really my first de facto year, because 2016, I only had a few months and just getting my footing. I had 1 episode, 3 episodes, 3, 1, 1, and then 4. But so this is really sort of my first proper year, 2017. And it's fairly consistent. March and June seem low, and April and September seem particularly strong in July, but pretty good year, 53 episodes, 52, 88, 31, obviously it dropped with COVID, way up to 71, and then 100 episodes last year. And I've already got that beat with 104 this year. So this is fun for me. One of my friends and good, long-time listeners of the podcast, long-time pen pal in Australia, my friend Matthew, he bugs me sometimes about how sporadic and unpredictable I am in terms of putting out my episodes. And he was part of the motivation why I started looking into the statistics, like how sporadic am I and how consistent am I? And yeah, I would have to say that it's been very sporadic, but it's getting less sporadic. Like if we look at this year, it's one of the most consistent years. And so that's a good trend. 2019 wasn't too bad. 2018 was pretty much constant growth. But yeah, I'd say in terms of consistency, I'm getting better. And a lot of that has to do with my Calendly app, which has helped. And a lot of it has to do with joining Twitter, because I meet a lot of guests there. And a lot of it has to do with just slowly getting more subscribers. Like I've got 1,000 subscribers now, which is not much. Most people get to 1,000 within, a few months or weeks even. But it took me, 7 years to get to 1,000. So in any case, I'm happy with this overall pattern. We can see if we ignore COVID, if we take COVID out of the equation, it's a pretty nice growth in terms of productivity and getting guests and putting out episodes. So that's the stats. I'll take you back and sort of show you that it's all up to date now. You can see this is my regular web page. It's all up to date. This is the long episode I did last night with Aiden and Christopher. That was fun. It was almost 3 hours. A lot of fun chatting with these guys. Christopher's not Catholic, but he's a Christian who's seeking, constantly digging into the scriptures and digging into what is church and these sorts of things. And of course, most of you probably know, if you know my podcast, you know Aiden Lisney, one of the Lisney brothers and the nephew of their uncle Mark Lisney, who I interviewed just last week or whenever that was. So yeah, these are the interesting guests that I've had on recently. Of course, Calvin Robinson is a big name, one of my biggest names I've ever had on. And but it's not necessarily the case that the bigger names are the better episodes. It's no fault of their own. It's just it just depends on the chemistry I have with the guest, I guess, and what they have to say. So I just wanted to check in, for posterity. It's fun because we can go back and look at this later, years later. We can go back and look at this video, this particular video that I'm shooting right now. For the sake of posterity, to get it in the books, I want to take a look at the all-star guests. I've done this before, obviously, so that's why it's fun, because we can compare and contrast and see the development. We can ignore myself because, you know, I put myself in here. Anytime anyone interviews me, like I had Christopher Rice interview me recently, Sidney Davis Jr., John Benko, who I'm going to be talking to again tomorrow. He interviewed me. Fawaz Yassi, aka Enoch, he interviewed me. And then I had a whole series of question and answer sessions with Tom Meunier, my friend Tom Meunier, who's my friend in real life, although we don't get to see each other too often. He's busy with his child and his life and his music and everything. And of course, I was on the Atheist Experience a couple of times, and I was interviewed by Gideon Lazar, aka Byzantine Scotist, Rebecca Davis, aka Bread of Life. And then I have some interviews with family members like Lucy and my parents, and I've got interviews where Tom Jump interviewed me, Joel Pearson, and things like that. So there's my sister Linda, who I gave a shout out to earlier. There's my niece Lucy. And I included the Matt Dillahunty thing because every time I call into the Atheist Experience, I record it and I put it on my show with their blessing, with their permission. And here are my parents, Keith and Josephine Ross. And the first episode, which is not part of my statistics, as I mentioned, is the Father Martin interview. So anyway, that's me. And but the real all-stars, I just put that there so that it's convenient for me to see. Some people actually email me asking me, has anyone ever interviewed me? So yeah, I can send them to this group of episodes. But moving on to the real all-stars, because I'm not an all-star, I'm not a guest. Moving on to the real all-stars, we have Kieran, who's been holding first place for a long time now, since certainly since the last time I did this sort of all-star checkup. He's been there, and he's got 18 episodes. The most recent one was, of course, the Bible study thing that we've started, and that we've done a couple of episodes. I hope to do more after the holidays, but it's construction holidays here in Montreal. And Kieran also is on holidays, as far as I understand. But prior to that, prior to the Bible study stuff, the last time I interviewed Kieran properly, unless there's a mistake in my data entry, the last time was February 8th. That seems like a long time ago. Let me just quickly fact check that. I'm gonna go and look at my channel. Excuse me, bear with me. Let me take a look. Whoops. Excuse me. Kieran. Oh. Uh-huh. So there's one that slipped through the... Oh no, that was 2022. Huh. They're not giving me... I'm searching on my YouTube. It's not giving me in order. So it seems like, yeah, it seems like that's the last proper interview I did with him. Was in February. In any case, he's our top dog right now in the rankings. Not that it means anything. It's just fun. It's fun to see who's contributing to the CVS family. You know, as Nicola Krisick calls it. Nicola Krisick calls it the CVS family, and whose voices are contributing most to that ongoing conversation. And right now it's Kieran, and in second place, his little brother, his little brother Aiden. I'm just kidding. Aiden's the older brother, but yeah, Aiden's there in second place, just 2 episodes behind. Again, not that it matters, but it's just interesting for me to keep track of this sort of thing. And just last night he was on with Christopher Rice, as I mentioned earlier. So. And he was part of one of the 2 Bible studies that we had with his brother Kieran. So lots of good stuff to watch here. these two Lisney brothers, obviously some of my best friends that I've made on the podcast, along with the third place top dog here, Matthew Murdoch, the ever controversial, ever lovable, and dramatic, and twisted mind of Matthew Murdoch as he goes his own way. And I hope he's doing well. He emailed me recently saying that he's getting back on track with Christ, and so I don't get a lot of communication from him, but I occasionally send him little reminders to come and chat with me when he's ready, and then I'm praying for him and all these sorts of things. Sweet, sweet guy, troubled guy, disturbed guy, much like myself. I think he's a little bit more rough and ready when it comes to exploring the dark side than I am lately or ever. But a lot of good content here. 4 episodes. If you haven't listened to any of these, I think you should go back and you should check them out, because he's a colorful character, real sweet guy. And he's got some really good insights, in terms of the faith, and he's got some good questions, and he's just confused about some stuff, but who isn't? Then we've got my frenemy Nathan Ormond here, right up in 4th place, and I like this kid. I think he's sweet, he's cute, and I always feel like he doesn't like me, doesn't respond to me, whatever, but I probably annoyed him too much. Most of these episodes that he's part of, he's just sort of, it's because I analyzed a bunch of his content and I gave him credit here, so his name shows up, but I've only interviewed him twice properly. But there are 13 episodes where he's the subject of the conversation, so that's why he's bumped right up to such a high ranking in the all-star guest list. There's my friend Tom Manier. He's got 13 episodes because we've done so many of these Q&As. But he's also been interviewed by me 3 times. So interesting guy, very interesting guy. Go check him out. Of course, my friend Nicola, you always, we all know him and we all love him. I'm surprised. I'm very surprised. He's only got 12 episodes, including the 2 Bible studies that Kieran has been leading on CVS podcast. Yeah, I'm very surprised it's only 12 episodes. I should go back and fact check and make sure it's not more, but maybe it's because we talk off the record and I just get confused. But it seems like, he's a lot more involved than what shows here. I'll get emails from him, and we love each other, and it's a good friendship. So another one of my best friends that I made online. Nick Stumphauser, he's a character. He's in the gold. He's on the verge of becoming a platinum, a platinum all-star. He's just on the verge, so I got to get him back, bump him up to 12 episodes so he can join Nicola Krisick there in 6th place or whatever that is. But yeah, if you know Nick Stumphauser, probably you've seen his film Died Suddenly. He co-directed, co-produced that one, or I don't know if he co-produced it, but he co-wrote it. And controversial film. I enjoyed it. There's been some controversy around it, obviously for obvious reasons. But I've interviewed him many times, even as late as January 20th of this year, and all the way back to the first time in February of 2019. So 11 episodes with him, and he's always a great guy to talk to, and he's part of the core crew, even though he's very busy. We don't get to see him or talk to him as much as we'd like to, but he's part of the core crew, the CVS family, for sure. Now, with Brenda, we've got a different sort of vibe. There's a little bit of, it's not quite the same inner circle friendship vibe with Brenda Van Assen. But Brenda's always fun to chat with, and there are quite a few episodes here. It could be frustrating. It's because we're diametrically opposed on so many essential and fundamental issues, But I like Brenda, and I haven't heard Hide in Her Hair since the sort of controversial run-in between Kieran and Brenda. It didn't, and the same thing with Brenda and Joe, Brenda versus Joe, that didn't go too well either. So there seems to be a little bit of feathers ruffled sometimes. It gets a little bit heated, and so it is what it is. But Brenda, if you're listening, you're always welcome to come back and chat. You know. So that's it for the platinum and the gold. Then we dip down into the silver. There's only one silver all-star at the time being, and that's my good friend Rebecca Davis from Bread of Life. She's been on 6 episodes, including the episode where she interviewed me on her channel. Okay, and she's been on a couple of group talks, one with Aiden. Oh, 2 with Aiden. Interesting. So they got along well. I mean, everyone gets along well with Rebecca, and it's actually Brenda who introduced me to Rebecca and vice versa. So that was thank you to Brenda for that one, because Rebecca is a very special woman. Moving on now down from the silver to the bronze level, we have my good friend in real life that I've known since the early 90s, Ben. And he only has 5 episodes, but definitely worth listening to. Go and take a listen. Thoughtful guy and a smart guy, bright guy, and he's atheist, but he wanted to classify himself as other when I first interviewed him the first 2 times. And since that time, he's gone on to become a minister in the Unitarian Universalist community. So always interesting talking to my good friend Ben, my friend in real life, believe it or not. Yes, I do have some friends in real life. They're few and they're far between, but I do have a couple. Another bronze member, my dear friend on the internet, Brandon Danilishan, and he's my fellow Canadian from Toronto. 5 episodes already. He's got another one lined up, and he would have more lined up if it weren't for my summer holidays, where I just blocked off my calendar. So only if people reach out can they make special arrangements to get an episode like what happened last night and what's going to happen tomorrow night with John Benko. But unless you email me and say, hey, can I work something out during your holidays, I shut the 2 weeks off so I could just chill and spend time with Anna. But yeah, each and every one of these is a straight up conversation with Brandon about his perspective on the faith, and he's got his own little channel on YouTube, and he's just a great guy, and he's got some great insights and the wit and the humor and the banter, and he's just a silly, cute guy, but deep and serious and on fire for Christ and his church. So if you haven't checked out Brandon's stuff, go and check it out. And here's another winner. We got another winner here with my friend Christopher Rice. He was on last night. He's in the bronze. He's only got 5 episodes. And, 2 of those are group episodes, and one of them is his interview of me. So they're really only 2 proper interviews that I did of him. But amazing guy, one of my best friends that I've made on the podcast. And we've only known each other since April 15th of this year. So yeah, he made a special mark on the CVS podcast. He's part of the family, and he'll be here for forever, I hope. I mean, I hope this CVS thing keeps going, because it's as he always reminds me, it's community. It's that's what church is. That's what he keeps telling me. This is what church is when we have this community. We're gathered in the name of Christ. So someone who's not gathered in the name of Christ is my friend Lena Santiago with 5 episodes. And he's a cute guy. He's nice, but we disagree. Much like with Brenda, we disagree. But Lena doesn't get quite so flustered and hot under the collar. It's more just fun and cute banter. But you can check out his interviews. It's fun. And I'm not sure why I included Lena in the contra sedificantism thing, but I'll have to go back and listen to that to figure out why. I'm sure there's a good reason. With my ex-friend Christopher Agron, who unfriended me on the internet and just has ghosted me. He was a special guy. I'm sure he still is, a nice guy, and some of the best chats I've had. You check out his first 3 interviews, and it's really interesting, the conversations that he and I had. It's too bad we had our falling out. We had our falling out over Pope Francis. Like, he was attacking, I was defending, and and a lot of it had to do with the alleged cover up of sexual abuse in the church and this sort of things. That's why I addressed Christopher Agron in this Father Julio Cesar Grassi episode that I did, making a case that this Catholic priest who was tried and convicted, is in fact innocent. That's my hunch. That's what, that's where the evidence points, I think. But you can go watch the episode and feel free to disagree with me. Joe came and went pretty fast. I thought he was going to be a long time. I thought he was going to go creep his way right into the inner circle fast. But what happened with Joe, he's a cute young guy, and he got embroiled with Brenda, and then things just went south pretty fast, and he actually left, as far as I know, he left Christianity. So that's 1-0 for Brenda, I guess. But we'll see. I got a message in Twitter from Joe fairly recently, like within the past couple of weeks, and so just saying hi, and he's busy, whatever, but he's saying hi. And of course, as I want to do, I immediately invited him back onto a live stream to talk, and he said I didn't say anything, but I guess he's going to think about it and maybe get back to me, but hopefully he'll come back when he has the time. Love you, Joe. If you're listening to this, love you. Hope you come back. Come back to the podcast and come back to the faith. Another dear friend here, Pychris. Only 4 episodes. I got to get Pychris back on. I met Pychris back in 2017, so it's been a while. And we don't interact too often, but he's sometimes in the live chat, and he's a sweet guy, good friend. And like I said, we don't interact that often, but I consider him part of the OG crew, and interesting guy, very sensitive guy, and you can go check his stuff out. He used to be a Satanist, and he's from a sort of family that has some Methodist roots, and he's been maturing in his worldview over since 2017, that's for sure. Don't know exactly where he stands today, but I'm interested. Pikers, if you're listening to this, definitely book a slot and come back and let us all know what's going on with your faith journey. Stephen Ray, this is a special guy. I used an artificial intelligence thing to generate just a fake image of this guy. All of the blue ones, if you didn't already know, the blue ones are fake images from AI. The purple ones are like stock photos of famous people, like this Aaron Ross famous, so he's got like, photos you can just pull up. And then the green ones are actual screenshots from the actual interviews. So Artur Pawlowski is also famous, but instead of pulling up a stock photo, I just used the clip screen grab of the actual interview, because it's more organic that way. With Aaron Ra, it was audio only. As you can see here, it was audio only before the days of my video streaming. So I grabbed a stock image of him. But with Stephen Ray, he requested some different sort of anonymity. He had some concerns about, being recognized, and he wanted the freedom to be able to communicate without too many repercussions because of the workplace or whatever. And so I used a fake image and whatever. So, but this guy is a true friend. He's a good friend. He's a prayer warrior, and you can go and listen to his stuff. We started recently going through the readings for the coming Sunday, and of course I went on holidays and I booked that time off, but we're going to start again after the holidays. Great friend, Steve. If you're listening, I love you. Thanks for your prayers. Real prayer warrior, real great guy, real sweetheart. So love you, Steve. Met him online too. Alex Randall. Alex Randall. Alex Randall. Why am I not remembering who Alex Randall is? I think he's an atheist. He's got some sort of origin of species thing here. I interviewed him twice, so I should have more memory, more recollection of him. I'm drawing a blank here. But my friend Kieran actually chatted with him, probably about evolution, but maybe about abortion, actually. So I apologize. I'm not really remembering too much, but again, this is an artificially generated fake image of this young man. I know he's young, but he wanted some anonymity, so I gave him that, and I'm not really, I don't have a lot to say about this young man, and I think he was a nice young man, but I'll have to go back and listen to his stuff. Of course, everyone knows Aaron Ra. Sweet guy. He's a controversial atheist. He loves his science and he loves his evolution and all this nonsense. But real sweet guy, real generous guy, lovable guy, one of my favorite guests of all time. And, just a warm heart, he's a big guy with a warm heart. And I like his gruffness. I like everything about him. I like his voice. I like his sense of humor. I just like this guy a lot. So much love to Aaron Ra. I hope he finds his way to Christianity. That would be amazing. He was born and raised LDS Mormon, and so he's never been Christian. Wishing him all the best, praying for him. Artur Pavlovsky, I always say his name wrong, but I interviewed him twice, and I spoke about him briefly during this little live episode that I did. And a hero, he's a hero in terms of the freedom movement because he didn't put up with any of the nonsense, and he's got so many fines, and he's gone to jail, and he's just holding the line in terms of all the authoritarian nonsense. And so he's a great guy, and I believe he's a true Christian. God only knows the heart, but I believe he's a true Christian. My good dear friend Daniel Drzinovich. I can't believe, only 3 episodes. What's going on? Why only 3? I think, let me check my calendar. I think I must have him coming on again. It seems like I'm so close to this guy, and we only met this year in February, but I'm so close to this guy. I'm going to check my calendar. Maybe because he's often in the comments, he's often in the live chat, and he's on my mind, and he's a good guy. And yeah, is he coming up here? It looks like he's coming up. Daniel Drzinovich. Yeah. Oh, okay. This coming Sunday at 6 p.m. I'm going to be talking to him again. And Brandon Danilishin, he's going to be coming on the 11th, the Friday. Not this coming Friday, but the one after. And I've got a bunch of interesting guests lined up for this month, but I'm a little bit surprised, frankly, that I only have 3 episodes with Daniel Drzinovich. What is going on? That makes no sense. So we gotta get him on more. Great guy. He's part of the core crew in the CVS family, and he's made a fast entrance because he's only been in since February 4th. My friend Gideon Lazar, we don't keep in touch. We don't have any real contact per se, but if I ask him questions on Twitter about Catholicism or Blessed John Duns Scotus or anything like that, he does respond. So he's interactive. He's a sweet guy, and he was kind enough to have me onto his show. He interviewed me on his show, and I've had him on once, and I made a little spoof video, just a little short snippet joke thing. So it's really 2 episodes, but he gets 3 just because I had that little spoof episode that I put there where I pulled a prank on him, just made a funny joke. my friend Kevin Mark, he's a good friend. We interact occasionally by email, and I've got 3 episodes with him. It feels like I should have more, but I guess it's only 3. And he's been attending SSPX, and that makes me a little bit nervous. But he's Orthodox. He's subject to Rome, and he's critical of Rome, obviously, but and Pope Francis and all that. But he's a good guy. He's a really good guy, and he's got a beautiful big family. I actually met him and his family when they came into Montreal a couple of years ago. We went to St. Joseph's Oratory, where one of my favorite saints, a local saint, Saint Brother Andre Bessette, he built this great oratory for Saint Joseph. Here we have, moving on now, we have another friend of the CVS family. This is Uncle Mark. He's the uncle of the Lisney brothers. And why is he only on 3 times? I guess I've only had him on 3 times. But great musician, a great guy, and a very touching character. And you can go and listen to his content on my show here. All great talks with a nice, sweet man. My friend, moving on to my friend Sid Thomas. Yeah, I'm surprised with this guy too. He's only 3 episodes, but yeah, what is going on? I'm gonna have to reach out to him. I think I may have made a mistake. I may have made a mistake when I was talking about the guy who left Christianity. I think it's this kid here. So let me go back and see. Who was I confused about? Joe. Oh. Did I get confused with Joe? It could be. Yeah, it could be. I got him confused with Joe. So yeah. So excuse me, forgive me. Joe, yeah, I'm still not clear. I'm still not perfectly clear. I'm gonna have to go and look at my Twitter and find out. Let me do that right now, because I don't want to get my story confused. Let's see. It must be Sid, not Joe. I think I made a mistake. Yeah. Sid. Yeah, it is Sid. So it wasn't Joe. Yeah, so ignore everything that I said before about Joe. Joe. Joe, what can I say about Joe? Joe's a funny guy. Joe's a funny guy. Yeah. Joe is a funny kid. He talked about it is he's bald and stuff like that. That's why I used this AI generated image of him where he was bald. So yeah, please forgive me, and everything that I said about Joe before, it applies to Sid. So I'm gonna have to go and find my way back to Sid. It's amazing, doing the podcast, I meet all these colorful characters. There he is, Sid. Cute kid. He's the one that left Christianity, I believe. But hopefully he'll come back. So I've already talked about Sid with his 3 episodes. Stephen Heiner is a sedevacantist. Nice guy, or sweet guy. Obviously, I don't agree with his sedevacantism, but a nice, kind, generous guy, and I enjoy our talks. And it's thanks to him, thanks to Stephen Heiner, that I read all the 16 documents of Vatican II, and I fell in love with them. And so thank you so much, Stephen, for that. And I did invite him back for a 4th episode. He agreed, but then we had scheduling issues. And it's thanks to Stephen Heiner that I have the Calendly app, that I'm using the Calendly app, actually. So many thanks to Stephen Heiner. Great guy, a real smart guy, too. Their child is an odd one. I've already talked about her in one of my previous web talks where I talk about my website. But if you don't know her, you should go and listen to it. It's kind of creepy, kind of weird. But it is what it is, and I wish her well, obviously. She chose the name Their Child because she wanted to be anonymous, and the photo is this pale blue because it's a AI-generated photo. Tom Jump, I've been on his thing a couple of times. It is what it is. He's a nice guy or whatever. But Wurzelroot, the reason there are 3 episodes for Wurzelroot is because I did that Where's Wurzel thing when I was waiting for him. I was so nervous, like I wanted to talk to this guy, he agreed, and then there was some delay, and then you know, he ended up coming on the next day. But that day I did 2 episodes. One, Where's Wurzel? I just sort of blathered on waiting for him. And then a second episode where, again, I was anticipating he was going to join at any moment. But then there was a feedback loop, and I started doing all this chanting and stuff and just acting like a fool, doing some throat singing and just complete nonsense. But it was fun. It was fun. And it went on for hours. Maybe I'll play a bit of this so you can hear just how crazy it is. Hey, I am back and I am live. There I'm chanting, you see? And it goes on and on. It goes on and on and on. It really goes on and on and on. So that was interesting. So I let it stand. I was I was literally just killing time, and I promised everyone this is not going to remain published. I'm just waiting for Wurzelroot to join me. But I thought it was interesting that I got so absorbed in that throat singing. So I let it stand on the website. It's silly. It turned a lot of people off there. Thought I was crazy, but just a little peek into my crazy mind. But the actual interview of Wurzelroot, it took place the next day on April 30th. And it was a little bit awkward. It was because, I was fanboying, and I like him, and he's just wondering who's this boomer. Even though I'm not a boomer, I'm Gen X, but he's like, who's this loser boomer? But he humored me, he put up with me, and I really appreciate that he took the time to talk to me, because he's a Catholic. He's part of that Groyper, America First, Nick Fuentes crew. He's on Cozy TV, and I like his content. He's very funny and silly, and he's good looking and whatever, and young and sharp and bright, and he's Catholic, So yeah, that was fun. You can go and listen to the actual interview. The other stuff is nonsense. The other 2 episodes that I did on my own are just nonsense, but he's a cool kid. You can go check him out, Wurzelroot. And Adrian K, he's only been on a couple of times, but I interact with him a little bit on Twitter, and I'd like to have him back. Deep guy. I think he takes care of a family member, maybe his mother, at home. So he's a very sweet guy. Goes to daily mass and these sorts of things. Andre Rose, I interviewed him once, and that was interesting. Definitely interesting. He's very antagonistic towards the Catholic Church. And so I also, prior to that, I had done a reaction video where I talk about Nicola Krisick and Andre Rose, and the interaction that they had. So definitely check that out if you're into controversy, because it was a little bit antagonistic. Benjamin Bisconer, this is a sweet guy. I believe, I don't know, but I think I met him. Did I meet him on Twitter? No, I met him back in 2019. But I think we're friends on Twitter. In any case, real sweet guy. You can check him out. Benjamin Bisconer. Now, maybe I should. I don't remember too much about his worldview. Let me check this out. I just want to see, jar my memory. The law of Thelema. Whoops. Talking about the law of Thelema. And I had a drawing of my. I want to hear him speak.
Yeah, there's been a lot of that. I because I do follow Catholic media, and it's I kind of don't blame you if considering your position. Because it's crazy. Even I can't make heads or tails of it. As far as because as you were saying, maligning the head of the magisterium. So far, I mean, the rules are still the same as far as the succession and what words.
So I'll have to go back and listen to that because I know I like this guy, but I don't remember exactly where he is on his faith journey. I think he's atheist. He put himself down as other in the other category when I first interviewed him in 2019. But yeah, I know I like him, so I'll have to get back in touch with him and see if he wants to come and talk some more. Because the last time I talked to him was 2021. Wow, time flies. So yeah, I should get back in touch with him. Bill Whatcott, my friend, he's been on my show twice, and he's fighting the system, you know, because he's a controversial Christian Protestant. He didn't put up with any of the censorship, and he's fighting against the LGBT agenda, and he's doing good work. He's a little bit controversial. You may not like some of his tactics or his strategies, but I do. I mean, he's just a bit of a bad boy doing his thing, and he's very honest about his own past, his own sordid past, and definitely check out his stuff on my channel and check out what he's doing in real life because it's heavy, and he's a fellow Canadian of mine. Here, moving on to Brendan Kyer. He's been on a couple times. Sweet guy. I have good chemistry with this guy. I like his face, and I like talking with him. I like his vibe. He's atheist. He used to be. Did he used to be fundamentalist Christian of some sort? He used to be Christian. In any case, he automatically reminded me of my friend Kev Non Traddy Cat, and so I hooked those two up. And I don't know if they did anything. I think he went on his show, or I may be misremembering, but in any case, I thought they would have good chemistry, and I think they did. But I like Brendan. Nice, bright young man, open-minded. He's wrong about metaphysics, but all atheists are wrong about metaphysics. Oh, here's my friend Brett Mitchell. He's the guy I was thinking of earlier. He's my friend on Twitter. I met him. What's this redacted thing back in 2022? That's strange. I'm gonna have to check that out. But anyway, I've had him on twice, and he's a young Earth creationist. He loves dinosaurs and bones and these sorts of things. And cool, sweet kid, nerdy guy, and lovable, sweet guy. So shout out to Brett. Moving on quickly, because I've been going for almost an hour here. Carl Olhoff. Now, this guy said he would come back a third time. I interviewed him back in 2019, but he just hasn't found the time. He was in university when I interviewed him the first time, and he's just been very, very busy. But bright young Protestant kid, and I'd love to have him back. If you're listening, Carl, hit me up. Let's do it. Here's my friend Fawaz Yazi, aka Enoch, and I interviewed him, and he interviewed me. So great guy. I had good chemistry with him. I think I offended him because I bashed the rad trads so hard, and he's leaning in that direction. But that's the risk I'm willing to take, because I want to call out the movement. I don't like it. No offense to anyone that's part of the movement, but I don't like the movement. I don't like the agenda. My friend Grant Friedland, he's been on once, but there's a censored version and an uncensored version, so that's not really fair that he gets the tin status with 2 episodes, because he really only did 1. But nice kid. He's part of the Australia First Movement. He's the founding member of the Australia First Movement, which is, I guess, inspired by Nick Fuentes' America First Movement. Homan Davoudi, Persian, if I remember correctly. Have I really had him on twice? That's hard to believe. Yeah, I had him on twice. He's since moved away from Montreal. I believe he went to Vancouver. Sweet guy. He has an interesting story, because he kind of came to some sort of faith, even though he was atheist, but COVID brought him to some sort of faith in God. So that was very interesting. Go check that out. I can't believe my friend Hugh Owen's only been on twice, but I guess that's the case. The second time, if I'm not mistaken, he came on to talk to me about geocentrism. Great guy. I think he's probably a living saint, this guy. Big family, nice guy, and check out the Colby Center. That's his brainchild, and a lot of good work he's doing for, the traditional Catholic teaching on creation. So check out Hugh Owen and the Colby Center, colbycenter.org. I have no affiliation other than I'm friends with these guys. Like just like Kevin Mark that I mentioned earlier, he used to be the head of the Canadian Colby Center, but he's since moved to the States. But that's how I know these people. Just met them and interviewed them, and they're really great guys. Jeremy Best, he was a funny guy. I'd like to get back in touch with him. It's been years since 2019 when I interviewed him a couple of times. I also interviewed his wife once, Marcy, but very headstrong Protestant, probably a little bit antagonistic towards the Catholic faith, but who can blame him? Joel Pearson, this is a nice atheist guy. Had him on. I don't know if I interviewed him once and he interviewed me once or what the deal is, but kind of like a skeptical atheist. Nice. He's got a nice approach, nice touch. John Benko, I'm going to have him on tomorrow and vice versa. We're simulcasting. He does an audio only radio show, and I interviewed him and then he interviewed me. Nice guy, and he's on the same page with me when it comes to Medjugorje. That's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. And as usual, I don't prepare, so I'm just going to wing it. I'm just going to wing it and just talk about Medjugorje. I don't like to dwell on the negative, but a lot of people lack a proper understanding about my nuanced view, how I think it's demonic, and yet there are fruits at the geographical space because of the Catholic priests that are there and the Catholic presence and the sacraments and the prayers and these sorts of things. So it's a nuanced view that I have. I do believe that it is demonic at root, but that God has a plan and he's put some Catholic stuff there too. John C. is one of my early guests, 2019. An atheist of some sort, I can't really remember. Joust here is one of my favorite guys. He's Catholic, leaning traditional, but very, he's critical of the corruption and the nonsense in the Vatican, but he submits to the true teachings of the Church, to the living magisterium. In spite of that, nice guy, really bright guy, articulate and good looking. Kent Hovind, I love this guy. He's just hilarious and got a lot of character. I interviewed him once, and then I did a response to the interview. I just sort of dissected a little bit and poked a few holes in his Protestantism in charity, obviously. And then my friend Kevin Non-Tratty Cat, I've had him on twice. It feels like I've had him on more. Should have him back. Sweet guy, real nice guy. He left, he was raised traditional Catholic and he left. Now he's agnostic, atheist, whatever. Sweet guy, cool guy. I like him. I like his vibe and we get along. He's funny. He's kind of nerdy and he's cute. Here's my niece, Lucy. You can go listen to her. She's an atheist, or was at that time. I have no contact with her. Matt Dillahunty, everyone knows, I was on his show and then I did an analysis of it. So that's why it gets 2 episodes. Max Colby, he sort of has disappeared a little bit. I don't know what he's doing online, if he's still doing Catholic apologetics or not. A very intense guy. A bit of a hothead, I think. But go on the internet, you can sort of dig up some stuff that he's done, especially with the men's rights movement. There was a movie he was part of, some red pill thing, I don't know. My friend Pinesap, he's supposed to come back. Have I only had him on once? And he gets a 10 rating because he was censored off of YouTube, so I had to put a censored version on YouTube. So he doesn't really deserve this 10 thing, but I'll just let it stand anyway. Robbie Dillon, I've had 2 real interviews with him. I interviewed him twice, and strong character, really special guy. He came sort of at a strange angle into Christianity from atheism because of his depression. Pretty intense guy. You should go listen to it. He studied philosophy later in life as a full-grown man. Definitely check out his stuff. It's interesting. Sean Ruby. I interviewed him twice, once in 2022, once in 2023. I have to admit, you know, when I use the AI photos and when I have an avatar, it's not as clear. It's really not as clear to me. The personality doesn't come through as well. So if you want to be on my show, I highly recommend use your real face, use your real name. Steve Cunningham, great guy, Sensus Fidelium, and I've interviewed him twice, real stand-up guy. Steve Pinnaker, the wacky extremist, radical Protestant, you know, he survived his suicidal tendencies because of Mormonism. Then he started the Mormon Book Reviews podcast, which really took off. And I've had him on, I interviewed him once, and he also hopped on a call with a video call when we were doing episode 2 of Kieran's Bible study. Great guy. Hope to have him on more often. Just one moment, please. Yeah, you can answer it, Doc. Answer it. Are you ready? Yeah. Just hold on. Okay, that's it. I'm going to wrap it up. My sister's calling, so love you all.